Welcome to Sweethearts or Rivals. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Justin.
What are we going to do today?
Today we're going to make a list. It was requested by one of our viewers, Gary, and it was thumbed up by another one of our viewers, Michelle.
Yep.
And they want to see a list of our favorite games to play, just me and you.
Right.
So we're doing it right now.
My list will be it's based on how good it is to play as a two-player game.
Yep.
And then also how fun it is to beat Justin at it.
Uh-huh. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at just all the games that I really, really enjoyed playing, period.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took out the games that, even though I really like them and they're great games,
Yeah.
they're not the best as two-player.
Right.
So this list is all the ones that are left over, the ones that are the best as two-player.
I think mine are all pretty good as two-player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shall we begin?
Right. So we'll just say the games on our secret list and then we'll get them off the shelf.
That's right.
And we can say a couple things about them after.
That's right.
Okay.
So we're going to do our top 6.
Right. It's usually our top 5. I had 5, but Justin couldn't get rid of 1.
That's right. Couldn't do it. Just didn't have it.
And then we have a special treat at the end as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your number 6?
My number 6 is Quarriors.
Quarriors! Nice. Mine is Targi.
Targi. We'll be right back.
Okay. You go ahead first.
Okay, so mine is Quarriors. We have all of our pieces of it in this box, the Quarterfacts expansion box, because it has a really nice insert.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason I like it is, number 1, it's dice.
Yes.
Number 2, it's all kinds of pretty cool dice with all different kinds of sides on them.
Yeah.
And also, it's kind of, to my knowledge, one of the first bag builders.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you're taking the dice off the cards that are the characters of what the dice represent,
Mm-hmm.
and you're purchasing them, and you're putting them in your bag, and you draw them blind, and then you shake them to see what kind of powers those creatures end up with.
Yep. And the dice, the whole dice thing, it's dice, and they're awesome looking dice, cool looking dice, and you're rolling lots of dice, and just dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't even have all the expansions, and we've just got a box full of cool little dice.
Yeah. And also, it's a theme that I really like as well.
Yeah.
Which is fantasy.
Yep.
So.
And it's a quirky fantasy.
Right.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about Targi?
Targi is my favorite game created specifically for just 2 players.
And it came in at number 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's the reason I love it is it's such a great back and forth when you're putting your Targis down.
Yeah.
And there's only there's not a lot of choices, and it's not a complicated game to play, but there's just that right level of complexity for if you make this choice, it's going to mean several different consequences,
Yeah.
which I love. And just, again, that back and forth, I'm going to place here, and it's oh, well, I know what you're going for, so I'm going to place here, and you are blocked, ha ha ha, and then, well, I'm going to go here then, and it's quick. And there's a lot of rounds, so it's longer than what you'd expect for just a straight-up 2-player game, but it doesn't feel long at all.
Because you're engaged the entire time.
Yeah. And that's a really good indication of, how engaging a game is. If it's a long game and it doesn't feel long at all, that's a good game. Yeah. So my favorite game specifically for just 2.
Cool.
Hands down. Targi.
Awesome. So, what's the next one on your list?
Number 5.
Let's see.
Check off my Targi here. Number 5, favorite game to play, just 2 players, is Vikings.
Mine is Maharani.
Maharani and Vikings. Nice. All right, we'll be back. All right, so my number 5 is Vikings. Vikings can play 2 to 4 players, and it is really good with all player counts because we played it with all player counts. But the reason I love it as a 2-player game is it's incredibly quick to set up. The mechanisms are absolutely amazing. And because of the way the rondel buying stuff works, playing it 2 players is just, I don't know, I can look at what's available and try to figure out what you're going to go for and try to work it so that I can benefit and get what I want, that kind of thing. As soon as you add more than just the 2 of us, then I'm trying to predict what everyone's going to be doing, multiple people.
Right.
and I find that more difficult. So I don't know. I enjoy the back and forth of me and you playing. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then Charlotte might do that, and then I'm gonna do this, and then Charlotte might do that, and so I can do this.
Right.
Yeah, and I love that. That's awesome.
Cool.
Cool.
So my number 5 is Maharani. And this is a newer game for us. We just got it in a math trade not too long ago, a couple months ago. And we've got it to the table a few times. And what it is a tile laying game. But it's also got a rondel, how you choose your tiles.
Yes.
And it spins for each player.
Yep.
So the way I'm looking at the tiles will make them fit in different quadrants than when you're looking in the tiles.
Yep.
So it's kind of the same thing with Vikings, because I'm always looking at the tiles ahead of me, but then trying to figure out which tiles is he probably going to be going for, and how can I make those tiles work for me to take them from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really find the spatial puzzle of Maharani.
With the orientation changing back and forth.
Back and forth, yeah. And it's good as a 2-player. We haven't played it with more than 2 yet. It can go up to 4. I would imagine it gets more exciting with 4. But it plays really well with 2.
I imagine it would be very much the same as Vikings, where that kind of prediction of what the other players are going to be able to do with the tiles is going to be more difficult as soon as you throw more than 2 players in.
Right.
Yeah. So I can see them kind of having the same way of that prediction tactics type thing.
And it plays in less than an hour too.
Yeah.
Which is something that you can fit in a few more games, like if you're having a game afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Right on. I think, honestly, why I like Vikings and why you like Maharani are very similar. But I like the mechanisms of Vikings a lot better than Maharani.
Right.
Yeah. And the theme, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, look at the cover. It's kind of girly, isn't it? And then Vikings is like boy, boy, boy.
Well, it's not really. Because, I mean, you're Vikings, but it's not really Vikings. It's no, like, conflict or anything like that.
I know. I always say, like, people might have a misconception of the actual Vikings.
Yes.
Because they all want them to, like, be on a murderous rampage.
Yeah. No, it's all about exploration.
I'm sure there were nice Vikings, too.
Sure. So,
okay,
that's our number 5.
What's our number 4?
What is your number 4?
Let me check. My box didn't work there. I put it on. Okay. My number 4 is...
Yep.
Carcassonne.
Carcassonne!
With some exciting expansions.
Nice.
Yeah.
My number 4? 5 tribes.
5 tribes.
5 tribes. Not number 5.
Get the boxes!
Get the boxes.
So, Carcassonne. This is the base game.
Yep.
And then I like to play it with a few expansions in. So I'll list them in my favorite order.
Okay.
I have to play with the traders and the builders.
Yeah.
Because I like the resource tiles.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Getting the most resources and some bonus points.
And it comes with the builder. So if you have like the builder in your city, you get an extra go if you add on that city.
Yeah.
It also comes with the pigs, which is okay, but the resource tiles and the builder are my favorite.
Nice.
And then the new one, Hills and Sheep. I love that one. The shepherds are really cool, and you get to draw sheep out of a little draw bag.
Yep.
And I love drawing things out of draw bags, and the sheep make it really a new spin on farming, so that's really cool.
Yeah. Nice
and
push your luck.
Also, the inns and cathedrals. I have to play with that too. And that gives you the inns on the lake on the road.
Yep.
And then the cathedrals help you get more points for your cities.
Yeah. And then the Hills and Sheep comes with the little vineyards that does the exact same thing as the cathedrals and the inns. Yeah. So
these are my favorite expansions to play with Carcassonne, and altogether that makes it my favorite.
Nice.
Also, there's a mini expansion too with the one that the biggest city gets points for cities at the end, and the longest road gets.
Yeah, the king and the road baron.
Yeah.
And then if you can get a longer road, you get to become the road baron. If you make a bigger city, you get to become the king.
Yeah, I like that too.
And that gives you bonus points for completed roads and completed cities at the end of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason I like it as a 2-player game with Justin, well, number 1, I like tiling games.
Yeah.
I really enjoy those kind of puzzly games like that. And then Every time I get a tile and I can block them, it's just so fun. So, yeah.
This is also the game that kind of launched us into modern designer board games.
So, I have a soft spot in my heart probably for this one.
Yeah.
But I still really enjoy it.
Yep. Hearthstone's a great game.
Yep.
This is number 4, right?
I think so.
Yeah. My number 4 is 5 Tribes. And I said that for my number 5, it was Vikings. The reason for that is because of that quick back and forth tactical, I think this is what Charlotte's going to do, so therefore this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. That comes through in 5 Tribes in the 2-player game on like a whole other level.
Right.
Because 5 Tribes being such a tactical game, the board is constantly shifting. I find it easier to play when I just have to predict what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, when you're only playing 2 players, each round you get 2 turns instead of just 1. Mm-hmm. And if you can work the bidding the right way, you can get 2 turns in a row, and it really can set you up for some really big, like, combos, mm-hmm. which is really nice, which you can't do at all in any other player count.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's why I like 5 Tribes as a 2-player game. It works really well that way. And because the board isn't changing as much, I find there's a little less AP. I don't have to like, oh man, the board has completely changed since my last turn. Now I'm going to have to re-look at the entire board. I don't find that as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I like 5 Tribes as a 2-player game.
And I think that one would have made it higher on my list. Like, I'm not sure it would have been in my top 5. But it's the bidding's a little wonky with 2.
It is, but I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find with 2-player games, the bidding is tricky.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes it doesn't come across as well with just 2 players.
Yeah. I think they do a good job of it. I know some people don't like the bidding in a 2-player game, but I think it's cool. I think it's...
That's one of the reasons, like, there's another expansion for Carcassonne. It was the one with the bazaars.
Yes. And
you had to bid. Like, it was kind of cool. It's a really cool idea. You draw a tile out of the bag with a bazaar, and then you bid. Well, with a 2-player game, it's kind of boring.
Yeah, it doesn't work that well.
Yeah, but with more than 2...
It works really well because you can work it so that you can get a tile for free and make some money.
Right.
Which is kind of cool, or points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a 2-player, I didn't include it in mine. Yeah.
The reason I like 5 Tribes just period is because it's such an incredible tactical game. I really like it. Hi, Jinx. I'm just going to stick my face right in your hair.
Okay.
What was I saying?
I think you were done.
The reason why I really like 5 Tribes just as a game in general is because it's incredibly tactical. There's so many different ways of getting points and trying to find a strategy to get the best ones. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy just looking at the board and going, okay, I can do that, and that's going to give me a lot of points, but is there anything else that can give me more points? And it's kind of a fun challenge to yourself to, like, give yourself a time limit. Like, I'm going to do my turn in like less than 30 seconds, and you're just like, okay, I do this. It might not be the best, but I love the game itself, the way it plays, and I actually like the theme with all the cool djinn cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
There's one thing, though, I do absolutely 100% adore about 5 Tribes.
What's that?
Pink camels.
Yeah, there you go. Pink. Thank goodness, because you don't have choice of color when you're playing the 2-player game. There's pink and blue. So thank goodness pink was one of those choices.
For us, yeah. Some people complained about that, but
yeah.
Thanks, Days of Wonder.
All right, so it's my turn to go first.
Okay.
Number 3, favorite games to play 2 players, Bora Bora.
Bora Bora.
Yep, it's right up there.
Holy, holy.
Yep.
Mine is Targi.
Targi.
To the games.
I got Jinxie here. All right, so my number 3.
Yep.
There we go. Bora Bora. Stefan Feld, one of my favorite Stefan Feld games. This game plays 2 to 4 players, and the way that it scales is great. So it's enjoyable for any player count, but it's also a bit of a beast to set up. And so this is kind of one of the games where I'm sure I would love it just as much with other player counts as with 2 players, but it's one of those games that I don't think we get a chance to play with anyone but just the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it works so well with just the two of us that I'm perfectly okay with that. Absolutely love this game. Rolling dice and using those dice to choose things, and the die number you've rolled gives you certain points to do certain things, and there's a million things you can do to get points, and all of them are awesome.
And what I like about this game is how when you roll your dice and then you place them on the actions, you can block people by the number that you choose.
Yeah, and that's a really good kind of tough choice. Do I place my 6 on that action and get a lot of that action, but then you can put a die on that action as long as it's less than 6? Or do I put the 1 there and it's going to give me like a very small benefit, but there's no way you can place a die there, and haha, you just got blocked out of that entire action. So yeah, a lot of really good, cool choices, good intricacy of how different things affect each other. And one of the reasons I love it is, you know, there's a really good theme with it. So you're building huts and building different things and getting jewelry and worshiping gods, and just all of it blends together really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really pretty too.
Yeah.
Like they did a nice job with the components, and it really matches. The components match the theme really well.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a number of games that I really, really love and wish we could get other gamers into, because I know the game would play better with more than just two of us. This isn't one of them. I would love playing this game with other gamers, but it works so well as a 2-player that I'm not like, do we really want to keep it? Like I do not see us ever getting rid of Bora Bora. Yeah. Love it. Yeah. All right, cool. That's mine. What is your number 3?
So you already talked about it. It was Targi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's a great 2-player game. Like the back and forth, and how you can block people, or block your opponent, I guess I should say. It's just a 2-player game. Yep. And it's resource management, which I really like as well. So collecting resources to gain other things and getting your points. And
Targi is great too, because if you want to set it up, you open up the box, you set it up in 5 minutes, and you're playing. Yeah. Bora Bora doesn't have that. Yeah. Bora Bora is a beast to set up.
And another thing I like, the resource management, you can buy the cards, which gives you special powers. Yeah. So it's almost like it's an engine building game almost, which I really enjoy as well. Yeah. So, and it's the perfect 2-player game.
Yeah. So. Have not found a game yet that's strictly 2-player that beats Targi.
Yeah, that's strictly 2-player, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so now we're going on to number 2, and it's your turn to go first.
Another crossover.
Oh.
It's Vikings.
Vikings! Yep. Nice. My number 2 game is Trajan.
Trajan, wow. To the game show. So Vikings, which we already talked about in this video, and we've already talked about it in previous videos as well. Yep. But my favorite mechanics in this game that make it my number 2 is, of course, the rondel and how that works, and how you buy not only your Vikings but your tiles as well.
It's a combo,
So and then how you place them out too, because the tiles will go out in a certain order this way, and the meeples go out in a certain order this way.
Around the rondel?
Yeah, around the rondel. Yep. And then the rondel will shift and make things cheaper as you go along.
And that's a really difficult choice to make. Like, oh, I can get this for free. And then that thing that costs money will become free for you.
Right. Or do I just take it now for the money and then deprive you of that? Yeah. And then looking ahead on the rondel and looking down at my little islands, the spatial puzzle of laying out your island tiles and planning ahead for that, I really like as well. Yeah. So that's why it's my number 2.
It's almost like 2 complete games in one. Because the whole rondel and manipulating that and managing your resources and money, all of that is like a game in itself. And then the whole placing your tiles out to get Vikings on them and the certain arrangement is a completely other game altogether. Right. And they work perfectly together.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so that's my Vikings.
Awesome. My number 2 is another Stefan Feld, and this one is Trajan.
Or Trajan, some people call it.
Yep. And the reason I love Trajan is it uses a Mancala mechanism in order for you to manipulate basically all the different things in the empire that you have control over. And a lot of people look at Trajan as a very, very interesting, unique blend of mechanisms with the thinnest veneer of theme ever pasted on. And I don't see it that way. And it's because when I'm looking at my Mancala, I view all the little pieces I'm moving around as like people that I am manipulating. And it's such an interesting mechanism to master in order to do what you want to do out on the main board, that I feel like I'm like this magistrate manipulating stuff.
Those people to go to the shipyard to go do the shipping or whatever.
And I agree, like, yeah, you could strip the theme away and it's just a bunch of mechanisms, but I feel...
isn't every game?
Well, I suppose.
I mean, games started somewhere. I don't think 100% of the games start with a theme first.
Some of them do.
Some of them do, but I'm saying not 100%. That means all of them.
But the reason I like it, even theme aside, is as I'm doing that, I feel incredibly accomplished doing that and mastering it. Like, yeah, I just did that and it resulted in this awesome play. Plus there's a couple of things that you have to master in that so that you're doing multiple things and getting them accomplished instead of just one or two things per turn. Yeah. So mastering that as well also makes me feel very accomplished when I'm playing it. Why I enjoy this as a two-player game is pretty much the exact same reason why I enjoy Bora Bora as a two-player game. I'm positive this would be just as amazing with the other player counts and would work just as well, but it is such an intense game to master that there's nobody else to play it with. And just me and Charlotte playing it, a lot of the times it'll be... You know it's your turn, right?
And I'm like, no, I thought it was your turn. Didn't I just go?
and we have no idea that like 5 to 10 minutes has passed. And we're still working on like...
Our next 3 moves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I love it. It probably doesn't look like a fun game if somebody were to observe us playing it.
Right, because it's bringing to mind the episode there that we watched about downtime.
Yeah.
Because there's actually a lot of downtime in Trajan, but it's not really.
No.
Because your brain is constantly trying to manipulate what you're going to do next.
Yeah, it might be observer downtime, but yeah, you're so engaged in all the different things. Like, okay, if I do this, I can do this.
It's brain burner.
I can do that. I can do that. And I love it, the whole thing. At the very end, even if I lose, I feel like that was, wow, I did pretty good there. I'm impressed with what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I really enjoy Trajan.
Yeah.
As a two-player game.
Right. So now,
number
one
Is it my turn?
Two-player game.
Oh, it's my turn to go first,
to play with each other.
Yep.
Yep.
My favorite, top of the crop.
Yep.
Village.
The Village.
The Village.
Mine is, hold on to your fedora.
Okay.
Trajan.
Nice. To the board game shelf. For me, because her game's already there.
Yeah.
Alright, so my number one favorite game to play, just 2 players, is The Village. Why is that? Because this is my favorite game to play, period. The Village is my favorite game. Just period. Done. I love this game.
Yeah, I can't wait to get the new expansion.
Yes, we have the port on its way.
Last week, and it should get here this week, maybe. Oh no, there's a holiday. Anyway,
we'll see.
It will be here soon.
So, we have the Village. We have the expansion, the Inn. I could play it either way. I don't need the Inn.
I like the beer or the ale or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I do like how it opens up more paths, like for victory and more ways of, if I go get that visitor card, that's going to become my strategy. I really like that. But I have played games where we have the Village in and I've never used it. So I can kind of take it or leave it. But honestly, with it being my favorite game, I would definitely get it.
Yeah.
But the reason I love the Village so much is the mechanisms are so incredibly unique they don't seem unique until you're playing it and like, this is totally different from what I'm expected.
Yeah, I almost want it's like a worker placement but backwards.
Yeah, because you're picking cubes up off of the board to
do
take that
your
action.
actions.
And sometimes you're picking up a cube off the board to take that action, and that action is to take one of your family members and put it on the board as a worker and train them to stay there in that job.
And the cubes that you're picking off the board to do your actions are like resources that you use to do other things. So it's like a backwards worker placement, resource management kind of a game.
And the resources for the cubes are different traits for your family that they've picked up from experience. But there's also resources that are actual resources like wheat and carriages and plows and oxen and horses and ale that you have to manage as well. Yeah. It's such an amazing game. And
it sounds like there's a lot going on in it, but once you've got the basics, it's not that complicated.
And it's not.
It's a little complex, but it's not complicated.
And the great thing with it is it seems complicated because there's so many things you could do. But you're not going to do all of them. You're going to do a couple.
Right.
And try to find a synergy.
Right. Because you don't want to try to do a little bit of everything. You kind of want to focus on a couple of certain things.
And I don't know how many times we have played The Village over the last couple years, but we have played it a lot. And there are still different strategies that I'm like, I could try that next time. Which I absolutely love. The reason I love this game as a two-player game, specifically with Charlotte and I, is because when we play it, we come up with the funniest, coolest stories for what is happening in the game. It creates a bit of a framework to create stories, because basically what you're trying to do to win the village is you're trying to do all these things, but you're also managing how much time has passed, because when a certain number of time or a certain amount of time has passed, one of your earliest generation family members is going to die, and you want them strategically placed to die in the best way to be remembered in the Village Chronicle, which is a major way to get points in the game.
Right, and if there's no spots left in the Village Chronicle, they just have to go in an unmarked grave.
I know, and that's just sad. Nobody remembers them. You don't get points for it.
I know.
But some of the things that happen are so crazy. Like, we played a game, and I managed to get one of my generation into the City Hall. And he immediately, from that action, I had to kill off one of that generation. It was him. And it's like, what happened? And like, the story came up that, well, he got in there and was really like raising the roof about, you know, guidelines for safe stairwells, and then fell down a stairwell and died.
Yeah, it was tragic.
And he will be remembered for that
in the Book of Chronicles. Yeah.
So that's why The Village is my favorite game, just period, but also why it's one of my favorite games to play with just me and Charlotte.
I know, that house rule that we have to make up a story as to why a person died, is awfully fun. Yeah.
And it's not something that we have to do it. It just happens.
And I know, but
I don't think it would happen. This is why it's my favorite Us game.
That probably wouldn't happen with like a different group.
Yeah.
That if we played with a different group.
I mean, we would do it. If we were playing and there was like 3 other people playing with us.
We would do it anyway. We wouldn't care how foolish we looked.
We'd be making up stories. Everybody would be like, I don't know, they just died because I got the points. Just, what story? Uncle Joe? What?
Yeah, I know. It's funny.
Yeah. So that's why The Village is my number 1. Right at the top. Can't wait to get the port.
My number 1 is Trajan.
Trajan!
And if you remember, one of my qualifications for classifying the games from 5 or 6 to 1 is how much fun I have when I beat him at the game. And Trajan is my number 1 game I like to beat him at.
Yeah.
And it's because it's so intricate and you invest so much time in the game, and you're always looking. Another thing I love about games is like when you kind of have to multitask and plan like 2 or 3 or 4 moves ahead.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just sitting on the edge of my seat. It's like, hurry up and do your turn, because I really like need to do these moves fast so I don't forget them. Yeah. But I really enjoy that. And there's so many different paths to victory. Yep. And you can try something different each time. Yeah.
And one of the things with Trajan, I think it was Trajan that actually got me thinking that every Stefan Feld game has one kind of aspect that needs to be mastered in order to really become good at it. And for this one, it was being able to do the Trajan bonus tiles and being able to get those, so that when you take your turn and you like do okay, I'm doing this action, you're not doing just that action, you're doing two actions. You're doing that action and the bonus tile.
Right.
And the first 4 or 5 games or something like that of Trajan got my butt kicked consistently, because I'd be like, why am I going to waste a turn getting a bonus tile to get on some other turn when I could just do this? And it took me that many game plays just to look at what Charlotte's doing, and it's like, well, that's what she keeps doing. She keeps kicking my butt. Maybe I should do that. And once you master that, you really start kicking butt at Trajan. Yeah. Yeah. So now it's more of an even match.
Like looking at the board and the bonus tiles and your little Mancala and figuring out like what you need to do and plan where to get your little tiles so that you can do that when you do that action. I love it. Even though it's kind of brain burnery, I just get so involved and I don't even notice the time going by.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah. And once you invest that much time and effort into a game, to win, it's like, yahoo! It's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
So that's my number one. Two-player game that I love to beat Justin at.
There we go. The Village and Trajan.
Yeah.
So, each of us has a kind of bonus game.
Bonus. It's a guilty pleasure.
Yep.
Now, not necessarily does it play well with 2 players for me, but it's just, every time I play it, and I have to say, it may not be rated the highest game wherever games are rated, but I really just enjoy it. So it's my guilty pleasure game.
What is it?
It's Machikoro.
Machikoro!
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Oh, really?
Not at all.
I mean, I know it's really popular.
Yep.
Like, I know a lot of people love it, but I'm not sure that it's rated that high.
I don't know.
And I don't think, if I'm looking at it critically, I don't think I would rate it very high, but it's because, I don't know, it's the random luck. Every now and then, I just love to play a random luck game, play the odds, you know, dice are fun, playing odds with the dice, managing money.
Machikoro by itself, the base game, is a horrible game.
In your opinion?
In my opinion, I do not like it. I loathe it. Because if you're looking at it, you can either get a whole bunch of 1 or 2 different kinds of buildings and then hope to get that die roll, and then get that one big windfall of cash. Yeah. Or you have to get basically one of everything, because then it doesn't matter what you roll, you're going to get some kind of payout. Small, but you're going to get it, and then build from there. Right. And everyone has access to the same buildings, and it's all just random luck because everyone's getting the same buildings, and I just bleh. Now, once you add the expansion, the Harbor, which should not have been an expansion, this should have been the base game, to be perfectly honest, in my opinion. Yeah. Once you add that, then the buildings that are available are different for every game. Right. And then it becomes more interesting. It does make it more interesting. Now, it adds a lot of time to the game. Yes. And there's one thing I want to say about Machikoro, and I don't know, I haven't heard any other person, and we've watched stuff on it, and we've watched people play it online, and this and that, and no one has mentioned there's a green dice and there's a blue dice. Yes. Why are there 2 colors of dice? And when I saw the game the first time, I thought, well, that's really cool, because there's a card that you can buy that lets you roll both dice. And then I thought, well, one's blue, one's green. There's blue buildings, there's green buildings. Why can't you, when you roll the 2 dice, if you want a low number, you could pick a blue dice to play a blue building, or the green dice to play a green building. Instead of having to take 2, like the total of your dice. Yeah. You could have the choice to either total, play the green dice, or the blue dice. And I don't know why no one's ever said that, because it seems so obvious to me. I don't know. Maybe, and it's nowhere ever in the rules. Maybe it's because there is another expansion coming out. Maybe. I haven't played the other expansion. And I haven't heard anything about the other expansion. No. So I guess if that happens, then I could have designed it. There you go. No, I can't say that. That's wrong. No, because they already designed it. Exactly. Maybe if it's not in the next expansion, if it's in the 3rd expansion. I'm embarrassed I said that. I should probably cut that out. Okay. Anyway, Machikoro, it is more interesting to play with the expansion, but it is still a total luck fest.
Right, and it's way better to play it with more than 2 players.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it, so it's my guilty pleasure.
There you go.
Okay. We talked a lot about that. What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure. This is a game that I am having an incredible amount of fun playing. And kind of like Machikoro, well, sort of like Machikoro. Machikoro, in my opinion, is not a great game.
Well, that's why I said... Like,
it's fun, but it's not a great game.
If I was looking at it critically, I don't think I could rate it as an outstanding game. But
my game, I don't know if it's a well-designed game, because I still haven't figured it out yet, and that is Hyperborea.
Really?
Yeah. Hyperborea, every time we play, I really enjoy it. And I'm finding as we play the different... We're starting to play the longer games. It changes it quite a bit. And I don't know, I look at it without playing it, and everything seems to be wildly unbalanced. But when we play it, in most cases, we come out scoring very close. So it might not be wildly unbalanced, but maybe it is wildly unbalanced. Like, I don't know. I don't know just how well designed it is.
We need to play it a lot more times probably to figure it out.
Yeah.
But we have already played it a lot of times.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that kind of leads me to maybe it's better designed than it seems because we have played it a lot. And we're still figuring stuff out. Which I think that's a good sign of a good game.
I would think.
If you can...
each time you play it, you learn something different and new about the game. And then you can say, oh, well, the next time I play, now I know that. And I can make my gameplay better. Yeah. That would be a sign of a... Yeah.
And there's so many different ways you can play. There's a lot of different strategies you can take. We tend not to be... We tend not to, like, go towards really, like, warfare, kill each other off games. And you can do that in Hyperborea, but you don't have to. But I've played games with other people that we played 2-player, where I was winning, and if I could have ended the game, would have easily won and kicked butt. But we played a little bit too long, and then suddenly my opponent's like war machine kicked in and swept across the board, and then I was gone.
Right.
So it's straight up, it's a really enjoyable game. I have fun playing it every single time I've played it. I've loved it as a 2-player game. And I don't think we played it as anything other than a 2-player game.
I don't know. I didn't play that time when you played
No, it was
with
just a
the
2-player.
other person.
Yeah. So I've never played it with more than 2 players, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it as a 2-player game. And I'm figuring stuff out about it, and still have a lot to figure out about it.
Yes, but I also enjoy that game, but I'm not embarrassed to say that I enjoy that game.
That's true.
Whereas with my guilty pleasure, if someone asked me how much I loved it, I would be like, yeah, it's good. No, I really like it. Like, I really like it. But I'd be like, yeah, it's good.
Nice.
2 thumbs up. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's sort of my guilty pleasure, sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, I don't know if you got it. Anyway, that's fine. I also just wanted to mention I had 16 games that I chose from.
Yep.
And they're all great games. So I just thought I would also mention they're in alphabetical order.
Okay.
The other games that I consider being in my top 5 or 6, because I had to get an extra one because you had 6.
Yeah.
So it would be Belfort.
Yeah.
Bora Bora. Castles of Burgundy. Euphoria. Frenzy. 5 Tribes. Hyperborea. Istanbul. Lords of Waterdeep.
Okay.
Takinoko. That was the last one.
Cool.
Yeah.
I also have my honorable mentions, and they're just the ones that, were right up there but didn't quite make it in that top 6. So they're also in alphabetical order, and mine's Carcassonne, Castles of Burgundy, Dominion, Euphoria, Firenze, Keyflower, Lords of Waterdeep, Terra Mystica, and Viticulture.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
cool.
All of these great games to play with 2 players.
Yeah.
Some of them also good with more than 2 players.
Right. A lot of games are better with 2 player or more than 2 players.
Yes.
Yeah.
But these are great with 2 players only.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our list.
Yep.
Lists, I guess. There's 2 kind of there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, for those of you that were kind of watching our videos and wondering, I can kind of see what they like, but I don't know what their favorite games are. There's our favorite games. And now you know.
The rest of the story. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
We'll see you next time.
Later. Tactical game. I really like it. Hi, Jinx. I'm just going to stick my face right in your hair.
Okay. We're shooting Jinx. Oh, I love you too. That's so nice. Oh, that's so wonderful.
And your hair's ruined.
You just wrecked my whole hair, Jinx. Okay.
That's probably enough.
Yeah.
That's enough loving.
Thanks, hon.
Or you can just... No, I'm not done.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Jinx, I love it.
Your face is just covered in hair. Come here, you fool.
Oh, my goodness.
You're such a silly cat.
I can't see that side of my head. I think it's sprayed enough that it wouldn't really matter. Anyway, that'll be the blooper.
There's the blooper. Kitty loving.
Yeah.